So let's get to this question of vote blue no matter who, and why, just, I can't tell you how frustrating it is to see, well, if Bloomberg's the nominee, you'll vote for him over Trump, right? Like that question is so frustrating, and we can get into that. Because what is the logic of vote blue no matter who? Let's dig into that a little bit, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, the ostensible, the sort of theory as presented is that the Republican Party is this singular menace, and that the Democrats, whoever they vomit up through their primary process, must be better by definition because they're not Republicans.
You might prefer one or the other candidates, and sure, maybe there are some differences, but generally any of them are significantly better in some way.
And that, what I will say is, I think voting is a personal decision. I don't, I'm not going to tell anyone that their choice is wrong for saying that, like, here's my candidate, I'm not going to vote for anyone else. But in my view, that is the case for everyone but Bloomberg. I will party hard to vote for Bernie. I would gladly vote for Elizabeth Warren.
Double entendre, I got you there. That's good. Party hard. I liked it.
I would grudgingly vote for Biden or Amy Klobuchar. I'd buy an entire gallon of supermarket whiskey and just get blackout drunk to vote for Pete.
I would self-flagellate after voting for Mayor Pete. No, so two things. The very question itself is a problem because
yes,
right.
What are you doing with this question right now?
What's the work being done by asking this?
Yeah, because what the immediate effect of it is to lay the groundwork for Bloomberg being nominated. There is no reason that he should be the face of this party right now. He's worse on race. He's worse on gender. He's worse on economic policy. He's even worse on Russia, the thing that MSNBC liberals have supposedly been working themselves into a frenzy. Like, he's spoken favorably of Putin, and, just because oligarch, like game recognized game. And, so like, what are we doing? Why are we even discussing the possibility of nominating this fucking asshole who just absolutely pulls apart from the way the party has positioned itself and talked about itself for the last 8 years? What
it's doing is saying, oh, there's this oligarch worth billions of dollars who wants to buy the nomination. How dare you suggest that you won't let him?
Yeah.
When one of his main arguments is electability, right?
Yeah.
So the work being done by posing the very question is this premise that we have to answer, the premise that we have to support the electability argument, right?
Yeah.
And wage war against those who would undermine the electability of a nominee, even if that nominee is basically a mirror of Trump, but better at being authoritarian and racist, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And to say that, at this point, to say, as I will say, just again, speaking personally, I'm not fucking voting for Bloomberg. Even though we live in Pennsylvania now, I will not vote for him against Trump. I'm saying that right now. It's my vote. You can't convince me otherwise. If you disagree with me, sorry. Fuck yourself.
Yeah, no. And not only that, but the people that are asking that question, you should respond to them and say, your very question is helping fascism.
Yeah.
Your very question. Look, the work being done politically in how you choose to use your time, what arguments you choose to make, what questions you choose to ask, those are all doing work. And we have very strong arguments, we think, that if you're doing anything but helping the only true Democratic socialist, Bernie Sanders, who is fundamentally distinct from all the other candidates, but the antithesis of the billionaire oligarch who is trying to buy up the nomination and basically run things in a way that is indistinguishable but from Trump, but more civil. If what you're doing is countenancing that and working against, under a circumstance with climate change and all the crises that we have, to face, you are not helping, you are harming things. And
Yeah.
that is something we need to resist.
And what I am attempting to do with my stance against Bloomberg is to inoculate the party by saying that the only possible, even thin justification for nominating Bloomberg, that he would be a good bet against Trump, is false.
That's
It's not just me. Like, we are very far from the most fanatically pro Bernie podcast. I can tell you that right now. And Bloomberg absolutely would bleed the entire Bernie vote away. I think, at the end of the day, probably most of them would come out for Warren, at least, maybe some of the other candidates, but Bloomberg, fucking forget about it.
Look,
and so you're throwing the nomination
If you nominate Bloomberg, we are going to work our best. I am now going to believe the people to the left of me that say electoral politics is a sucker's game. Because there are plenty of people to our left that say, what the fuck are you doing?
Electoralism.
It's a
bullshit.
rigged game. It always will be. And I have thought there's more agency collectively than that. But if Bloomberg is able to buy the nomination and has the complicity of so many people who could have resisted it, right? After we inundate the media with all the things he's done wrong and how he's basically a mirror image of Trump, if that still leads to him winning, then yeah, maybe electoral politics is a rubes game and we need to work against it.
Yeah, well,
outside of
I
it.
would say, at least at this particular stage, every election is sort of recapitulating the democratic system. And what a Bloomberg, the primary reason I would not participate in the presidential election, I'll vote for the other stuff, is that a Bloomberg nomination would prove beyond a shadow of doubt that in the moment of 2020, the U.S. election system for the president is a fucking farce.
It's a sham.
It's hack bullshit. That doesn't matter. Your vote is meaningless.
That's right.
You have Trump and Trump light or Trump semi-light.
Stick to local elections. Stick to statewide elections. Maybe even stick to your federal district. But it's just like, I think people forget that, and this is part of Bernie's appeal that AOC has talked about a lot. There are so many people who don't vote, and like, they're not wrong in the sense that you vote for one party.
They don't get an option.
Right. Like, they particularly are going to get screwed over one way or the other. There are certainly groups of people that are helped if a Democrat wins generally than a Republican. But on the whole, there's so much harm that is being done that doesn't have to be done. Right? If we have a different kind of politics, different kind of interests being served. And it's especially egregious in a time where this special like movement is being built where, I don't know, since Eugene Debs, you don't have somebody who is speaking truth to power and speaking to all the marginalized people and uniting them to fight big interests. And if in the light of this most clear division between the powerful and those who want to unite against them, if now we choose an oligarch to buy up his political office, I mean, this is such a wasted opportunity that this might be the last shot. I don't know.
That's the end of the preview, folks. If you want to hear the whole episode, you can go to patreon.com/leftanchor. Thanks for listening.